Okay, fine. I will run my 5070 Ti through the Monster Hunter Wilds benchmark at stupid settings. This is using frame generation, not even DLSS frame generation. This is using FSR frame generation. This is also using FSR quality, even though we're running at 1080p resolution. Now, why would I do this ridiculous setting test? Because I have been asked to. Now, why have I been asked to do this? By the way, this is running live in the background right now. So we'll go ahead and let that finish while I give some context to what is this nonsense. This nonsense is trying to match the leaked benchmark score for the 9070 XT. I did a video about this a while back. The 9070 XT had a leaked screenshot, GPU-Z screenshot, Monster Hunter Wilds benchmark score. I reported on this. I did a video all about this. I tested it against my 7900 XTX at the same settings, found that it had about the same performance. But in this video, I was very careful to caution that this is very likely, to be made up, right? We don't know this is real. Now, it could be real. If it is real, then the result we get right here is gonna be interesting, because this is running the 5070 Ti at those exact same settings. So if you dig into that screenshot there, you get that it is running at the Ultra preset at 1080p on an AMD GPU. AMD GPUs at the Ultra settings in this benchmark default to FSR quality, which is why I've enabled that on my 5070 Ti here. You'll notice the graphic settings here read as custom instead of saying Ultra. That's because if you select the Ultra preset on an NVIDIA GPU, it defaults to DLSS quality, not FSR quality. So to match settings, because there can be some performance differences between FSR and DLSS, that's why this says custom, because I've switched it to FSR quality in order to match what's going on there. Also, there are ways to cheat the benchmark a little bit by adjusting the cutscenes to have different settings, by the way, which we don't know if that happened in the benchmark leak, if that leak is even indeed real. But anyway, here we go. What did we get? I am getting 195-ish. Well, 195-ish. That is kind of interesting, because now let's go ahead and switch back to the leaked score. That leaked score was 211, about 212. So that does mean that this leaked score, if it is indeed real, is a bit faster than the 5070 Ti. Now, is it a lot faster than the 5070 Ti? Not really. And also, these are terrible settings for a GPU test. We are using frame generation and upscaling at 1080p resolution in a very CPU-heavy game. This is an awful choice for a GPU test. But to be clear, this is somebody else's leaked benchmark, not mine. I didn't choose to run at these settings. I'm just forced to try to run at these settings if I'm matching it. And again, a bunch of you guys wanted me to match this. On my 5070 Ti video testing Monster Hunter Wilds, I'm getting all these comments about, hey, I want to see how this compares against the 9070 XT leak. So that is why we are doing all of this silliness. So anyway, there it is, 212 against 195. So a little bit faster on the 9070 XT. Now, to be clear, this does not mean any of this is real or means the 9070 XT is faster than a 5070 Ti. However, at this point in the video, to kill some time, we could now start to think about what it would mean if a 9070 XT was a little bit faster than a 5070 Ti. What would that mean? Well, if the 9070 XT is priced as high as a 5070 Ti, I think it's utterly meaningless. Because, again, AMD has already tried the offering a little bit better value kind of strategy. I think a lot of this depends on the pricing. So if the 9070 XT is as fast or faster than a 5070 Ti, that's awesome if it's also priced lower than the 5070 Ti. It needs to be noticeably lower. Now, there's also then the elephant in the room right now, though, of GPU pricing, because GPU pricing right now is actually awful. So that does throw a bit of a wrench into everything as well. So if I'm trying to predict what would be a good price for the 9070 XT, and I just realized I was opening up a calculator to show you guys something, and then I had it on the wrong screen. I was still showing my benchmark capture PC. But let's do this. Okay, so if we do 212 divided by 195, that would be 9% faster for the for the 9070 XT if we were going to believe these benchmarks. Which again, I don't know if we should. My thoughts would be let's just wait. But again, we can have this discussion. So 9% faster, even if we call it 10% faster than a 5070 Ti. You know, don't find a 10% performance improvement mind-blowing, right? Like if they were priced the same, so if this had a $750 MSRP and let's say all the cards were actually available at MSRP, which again, market's crazy right now, what does that even mean? I don't think many people would buy the AMD option if it offered 10% better performance at the same price. And I just think that's reality. If FSR 4 is awesome, that's cool, but that would probably just be at best reaching closer to parity with what DLSS is doing, especially with the new DLSS transformer model. I'd be pretty shocked if FSR 4 is better than the new transformer model. I'd be honestly happy if it even just catches up with the DLSS CNN model that we had previously. In other words, people, you have to convince somebody who buys NVIDIA to buy AMD and not just default to what they're already doing. So I don't think 10% better performance and maybe an almost as good upscaler is gonna do it. I think you need to be absolutely disruptive. So what does it take to be absolutely disruptive? I honestly don't know. I'm interested in what you guys think in the comment section. Like, now some of you are just being like, I'm already convinced I'm buying AMD, or I always buy AMD anyway. But those of you who normally buy NVIDIA and are maybe a little bit frustrated with the lackluster generational uplift that we've seen here with the 50 series, and maybe you are considering AMD, especially if they actually have supply available, what price would you pay if it's about 10% faster than a 5070 Ti, or maybe around on par with the 5070 Ti? So if the 9070 XT matches the 5070 Ti, what price does it need for you to realistically actually buy that instead of just buying NVIDIA anyway? Which, when you look at market share, seems to be what people generally end up doing, despite AMD oftentimes having a more aggressive price. Now, one issue with AMD's pricing in the past, though, has been that they don't hit the more aggressive pricing until after launch. They actually often have too high of an MSRP and then reduce it later, but they've already missed having those glowing launch reviews. So, like I said, what price would be a amazing price for you to get you to buy the AMD alternative if it had similar performance to a 5070 Ti? Imagining the 5070 Ti was even available around its $750 MSRP. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comment section. Hopefully you found this speculation useful and or interesting. This was highly requested in the comment section, so I went ahead and did it, despite this very much being speculation, guys, okay? Have an excellent day.